South Africa. I'm clocking to 13 years in South Africa.
Are you aware of the relationship, the part Nigeria played in the fight against apartheid?
Of course.
So how do you reconcile that?
So I'm talking to you now, the embassy is still locked. It was empty while we were sleeping outside. Assuming it's only me, I will tolerate with them. But this one with the children.
I do fingerprint, they didn't take me. First flight go, second one go, third one go, fourth one go, fifth one go. But I'm here do fingerprint, do everything, they didn't call me. Because of their collective money, putting their brothers.
You know,
we were the sleeping every day.
You know the reason why this car was stuck here?
Tell me. It's just said that around 8 Africans have been killed so far, but none of them no Nigerian has been named. Is that correct?
Why did the Nigerian embassy in South Africa treat Nigerians this way? You can see corruption. You see corruption, and fellow Africans appreciate you. Thank you all for clicking on this video. My name remains Lillian. Please don't forget to give this video a like. Remember to hit the subscribe button and feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section of the video. We are going to see so many videos in this video. The victims are here again. So brace yourself, because you're going to see so many videos that will leave you speechless. You're going to cry. Nigerians are being maltreated. Anyway, let us begin the video by welcoming our newest arrival from South Africa.
As I'm talking to you now, the embassy is still locked. It was empty while we were sleeping outside. Assuming it's only me, I will tolerate with them. But this one with the children. And we were no blanket. It was winter. I don't know if they want me to die before I come to my country. I'm from Akwa Ibom, Siribium local government area. Right now, as I'm talking to you, there is what they call match and match in South Africa, also known as Islamophobia. Right now, as I'm talking to you, there is what they call match and match in South Africa, also known as Islamophobia, which you all know. It has been a problem to us. So I was there in Tata Eastern Cape, one of the provinces in South Africa. It wasn't easy with us, so we moved down to Joburg. After we moved down to Joburg, we managed to have a place where a shop where we are selling. The thief went in there and broke the shop too. They broke in, not only broken in, they even steal the goods and then put the shop on fire. So it rendered us handicapped again. We started from square one. Then after that, we moved into an apartment where we can be managing with my kids. Then it was another problem. You are not free to walk there. During the night, it's a problem. The day too, you have to put your eyes on your shoulder, because I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, my husband was working while I was in our embassy in Pretoria. The gunmen, they ran him with a vehicle and took all the phones he has. They collected it and emptied him, including with some monies in his pocket. There are a lot of things that is going on there. I cannot hide it. Even my kids, they come back from the school, they tell me, Mommy, they say we should go. I say, go where? Go home. They start telling the teachers, they start implicating the kids about what is happening in the country. While in South Africa, before the few days I came in here, I was sleeping outside the Nigerian embassy. I'm one of the clients that was one of the people that were sleeping outside in Nigerian embassy for 2 weeks, and that place in South Africa is winter. So I was sleeping outside. I have some colds in my lungs, and my babies they are too small. My boys, they are too small. This one is 6, this one is 8, clocking to 9. As I'm talking to you now, the embassy is still locked. It was empty while we were sleeping outside. I couldn't bath. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't eat. I was just the same for other people. We were outside. On our immigration, our embassy in Pretoria was locked. No bathing, no shelter, no food. With the kids, you can, assuming it's only me, I will tolerate with them. But this one with the children, and we were no blanket. It was winter. I don't know if they want me to die before I come to my country.
Do fingerprint, they didn't take me. First flight go, second one go, third one go, fourth one go, fifth one go. But I'm here do fingerprint to do everything that they call me because of their collective money, putting their brothers.
You know,
we were the sleep every day.
you know the reason why this car was stuck here? Because yesterday there is an accident occur here. This gate cannot open. But this lady was always going up and down. See these people suffering here, sleeping here outside. She don't no remorse, no heart of human being.
We have stress. Some of us are getting mad now because of this situation. Please, Nigeria, come and rescue your people. Come and rescue your people. We need help. Please, this is all we are asking. We want to go home.
I thank God there is nobody get injured, nobody die. So we are pleading to Nigerian to help. I left Cape Town. I come to Nigeria embassy because they said that the government is providing a free plane to take people home because I lost everything. So when we come, they said the government have already tried. They sent 5 planes. It's the last one. So anybody come here, you must provide money for your own ticket and go.
You see this South Africa, what would they so? A lot of people when really they suffer for this country. Now people from Delta State. Yes. People from Delta State, especially the Delta Igbos, those Agbo and the rest, they suffer for this country. A lot of themselves don't they run mad for this country. So if you be Delta State person out there seeing this video, please share it for the governor of Delta State to see. Let the video get to the governor of Delta State, Governor Sheriff Oburewori. Your people did this country, they suffer. You see this repatriation of these 5 flights when leave this country, Deltas where they inside, they very few because they use connection for a lot of people. Majority of the people are Igbo people, real Igbo people, not be those ones that call themselves Delta Igbo. So Delta State people fool this country when they suffer. And to those of you now when they fight with women for internet, when I call on herself SSA, I beg una, if una see this video, make una help me. Tell una Governor Sheriff Oburewori, say our people fool this South Africa, they suffer. If there is any way he can help, maybe by joining with the government to send a flight to take Delta State people from this country. If I see them for street at times, I dey give them money and I dey feel like crying because those are my people. So I want to beg the Delta State government, please help your people to go back home. They are suffering.
So, my fellow Nigerians that are concerned about the way South Africans treated Nigerians in South Africa, what do you have to say about the way the Nigerian embassy treated Nigerians in South Africa? Is it good? You know, I keep saying it is easy to judge others when you have not worn that shoe before and you know for sure that you will never wear it. Some people are not kind enough to give people a chance, to even give people a cup of water. So it is easy for people who are not even as kind as South Africans to judge South Africans. Some people are so unkind that even their relatives, so they cannot take care of, not to even allow outsiders to come live under their roof. They cannot do it. But it is easy for us to all come together and complain about, why don't they like us now? Why now? Why don't they want us in their country? Why now? You're asking why? Why did the Nigerian embassy in South Africa treat Nigerians this way? You can see corruption. You see corruption, and you will see people like Adeola and Aku coming to talk about how corrupt South Africans officials are. What about these ones now? Our people, what they did to our people in South Africa. Is it good? Anyway, let us move to the next one.
It is said that around 8 Africans have been killed so far, but none of them are, no Nigerian has been named. Is that correct?
That is something that irks me a bit. We have a long list of extrajudicial killings of Nigerians, which our foreign minister has spoken about. We've written to the South African authorities about. This is right from like 2022 to date. I always want to make the point that don't tell me that because a Nigerian didn't die on the day of a march, anti-foreigner sentiment has nothing to do with it. Because that's what I've been hearing. Oh, no single Nigerian died on the day of the march. Even if that is the case,
They died the day after or the day before?
It's in the season. It's in the season. It's under this cloud of anti-foreigner sentiments. All the extrajudicial killings can be linked to anti-foreigner sentiments because they wouldn't have been handled the way they were handled if they were not black African migrants.
As a Nigerian though, are you aware of the relationship, the part Nigeria played in the fight against apartheid?
Of course.
So how do you reconcile that with what you then have to face?
I think, because I also read a part of South African history as well as the historical law from 1652. I think part of those histories are not taught at school. Yes, because I think that's what contributed. So because this new generation,
The born-free generation, as we call it.
Yes, were not passed down those kind of history. And those who knew the history decided to look the other way around and pretend that they would not pass this to them. Now, the conversation would then be, some of them say, okay, we are aware what you've done. You did it voluntarily for yourself. That's what the new generation are saying.
The born-free generation.
Yeah, so hence hence my conversation will be pre-1993 Constitution, 1994. South Africa Constitution of 1996 gave a framework in the preamble of the Constitution to say, if you look at the Constitution properly, it gave a skeletal system like a building that this is a visionary South Africa that we want to build. It gave a foundation, a cornerstone of how this new South Africa, from apartheid system of segregation into the new free South Africa based on constitutional democracy should be. Most of this free, but some of them do not understand it. The preamble says that the South Africa belongs to all who live in it. This is a powerful statement. Now, the anti-match group, or those promoting the anti-foreign migrants, do not understand the context that different political parties, different sectors sat together to design the South Africa of this new modern age, taking into account all the frontiers, all the assistance, all the contributions of different African countries towards getting a free South Africa. So basically, if you look at the context of the Constitution as well as what is playing out now, it is a total, I don't know how to describe it, is a bit of opposite of each other.
They want history to be taught in South Africa so that the younger generation of South Africans would know how Nigeria helped free them from apartheid. But back at home in our beloved country, they remove history from school, from our schools. As old as I am, I got to find out about the history of Nigeria during the Igbo king in Ghana. Because I was like, why do some Nigerians behave like this? I decided to go use Google. Google led me and took me through, taught me about my own country. For 3 days, I could not make or post any videos. For 3 whole days, I was down. I was broken. After knowing the history of my country, that the government of my country removed so that we don't get to know and see the truth. But I'm happy that the same people are now using everything against them. The propagandists, these born propagandists are now using it to lie against Nigeria. This set of Nigerians took advantage of the fact that the government of Nigeria removed history from our schools, took advantage of it and start lying, do whatever they can do, anything they can lay hand on to bring Nigeria down, they will do it. Now, these same people are going abroad to blame South Africans for not allowing history in their schools just so they will worship Nigerians. See, South Africans, you see all of these people, they do not represent me, okay? My country is so big, so big that Nigeria is so big that we are nothing alike. They do not in any ways represent me. Neither am I saying that you should see Nigeria through me. Do not, because I am only but a minority. So that whatever impression fellow Nigerians in your country have created on our behalf, see us like that. We will suffer for it all together. For countries that are yet to receive anything from Nigeria, my advice to you is do not. Even if you are dying and Nigeria send you help to say, oh, take it, rebuild your country, I will advise you turn it down, okay? Because my fellow Nigerians will come there and misbehave. They will come and remind you of how they gave you oxygen. So if I were you, my country, Nigeria, comes with a gift to say, please take this gift. Our leaders are giving you from the goodness of their hearts, okay? But their citizens will come there and take advantage of it and want you to worship them because they helped you. Please, let us go and help Nigeria. Anyway, I wouldn't say you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching it anyways. I'll see you in my next one. Bye-bye.